right, Pickle. Let's talk a little college football. We've been spending a lot of time talking high school football.
Because that's still going on, too.
College football is still going on. We're going to recap and run back the top 5 biggest moments of the college football weekend across the state of Texas. I'll tell you who's not going to make it. If that's a spoiler you're interested in.
Sure.
A&M's loss to Florida. I didn't think there was a big moment. It just kind of felt like a wet fart. So that won't make the top 5. Do you have a different opinion?
It was the perfect. I don't like to give you credit, but that was the perfect way to describe it.
That's right. Let's see. North Texas's romping of Florida International will not be on there.
Yeah,
but hey,
bowl eligible, boy.
Bowl eligible. Louisiana Monroe's win over Texas State will not make it, even though I think that has pretty major ramifications for our buddy Jake Spavital. But that won't make it. But we will start with number 5.
The future is bright for him.
McMahon on 2nd and 6. He's going to heave it to the end zone, and it is caught. Rosner at the ground. Rice takes the lead with 25 seconds left in the 4th. McMahon goes to Rosner, and the Owls celebrate in the end zone.
Let's take a look at that throw again by T.J. McMahon. Sticks the ball out, just a little token fake, and what a perfect spot to drop that ball in, right in the breadbasket of Bradley Rosner. Look at that beautiful ball outside his outside shoulder, and Rosner with the great release off the line of scrimmage stretches out. That's what 6'5", 204 pounds can do. Give you a great, nice, big, wide, long catch radius and target.
Rice keeps her bowl hopes alive with a late win over UTEP. That's a great play there.
Oh man,
2nd and 6 on the 23,
phenomenal.
and T.J. McMahon puts it right in the bucket for Bradley Rosner for a game-winning touchdown. This was a fun game on Friday night.
It really was.
This was a fun game, back and forth. That they never really could separate, and it really was going to come down to who could score last. Rice, I thought at that time, was going to try to play maybe for a long field goal. But they took the shot and they got it, and they get the win. A really nice comeback and victory for them in a game that was just back and forth. There was a kerfuffle after the game too. There was some pushing and shoving. Football fights are so lame, guys. You're all wearing pads.
Yeah, what are you gonna do? Start punching their helmet? Like that's
you
just
know
gonna
what? No,
hurt you.
do you know what they're going to do? Yes, that they're going to punch helmets.
And
it's
all
dumb.
you're gonna do is mess up your own hand.
Stop fighting in football. It's dumb. Now basketball fights, that's where it's in. Anyway, this was really important for especially for Rice, because that moves them to 5-4. That means they've got 3 chances to win one game. Now, they're going to be underdogs in the rest of their games. Western Kentucky, home to UTSA, at North Texas, right? But there was no way they were winning 2 of them. 0, like I'm convinced. They can sneak up on North Texas. They can sneak up on Western Kentucky. I don't think UTSA is – obviously they have a tendency to play with their food. We'll get to them in a moment. Mm-hmm. But for Rice, that was super important to get that win. And if anything, that increases their win total, right? They have consistently moved forward. And I think that if you're Mike Bloomgren, you can point to that and say, we are moving in the right direction.
Right.
And I do think they are forget the record for a moment. Mm-hmm. Watch the games. They are noticeably better.
Yeah, no, they really are. And that's the cool thing is we knew going into the year, and I know Craven was super hot on this, that their defensive backs were going to be super good. He was like, this is like an elite unit on the field against anyone. But to see the rest of the team start to show really good signs of life, they're a fun team to watch.
Yeah.
Which is not something we said about Rice a lot, ever.
Oh, exactly. They're fun to watch, and they've got some playmakers. Yeah, so for UTEP, this hurts because if they had won this game, they get FIU this week, and they'll probably beat FIU. But then they close out UTSA, and so they're probably going to come up a game short for a bowl and probably finish 5-7. But for Rice, it's a really, really big win. Number 4
into the end zone, and like I said,
Neighbors in motion. It is Squirrel Williams. Oh my goodness, Squirrel!
Go down.
Got to smart. So smart. They need to burn the clock.
And if you score there, you Give Oklahoma a chance. Oklahoma will not see the football again, and they will win this football game. So very smart.
Baylor's running game seals victory over Oklahoma. This was, I think, close to a platonic ideal of a game that at least Jeff Grimes wants to play at Baylor, where we have a lead late and all we have to do is run the ball out. And they did it. Squirrel Williams was excellent in this game. 192 yards and 2 touchdowns. Quaylon Jones, Richard Reese, I think got hurt at some point. But they were able to, Baylor was able to go. The opening quarter of this game was, or like opening like half of this game was wild. Back and forth, big play. It only had, let me see this. In the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 combined possessions, only 1 punt.
Yeah.
It was either touchdowns, interceptions, or downs. Like, it was wild. But down the stretch, Baylor was able to build a 2-score lead. Oklahoma kind of chipped into it and scored to make it 38-35. At that point, it's like, all right, what you got to do is you got to run it out. They had 2 minutes, 6 seconds. They had to run out. And that was the really big play. There was a completion for Blake Shapen on 3rd and 6 to Hal Presley that gave him a first down, and then that big run for 43 yards for Squirrel Williams that really put it away. That is, the reason I said Jeff Grimes and not Dave Aranda would prefer not to give up 35 points. With that said, that is their best path to victory, is get to a position where you have the game, you have a lead and the ball, and then all you need is first downs, because that's where they're going to be able to win up front, use that wide zone scheme, and run the ball out. And that's what they were able to do. This is a really important win for Baylor. It keeps them in the Big 12 conference championship race, and they are cruising right now.
And it's good to see. Sorry, I was going to say it's good to see Baylor beat a team that they should beat. It's one of those where there's been some toss-ups, and it's like they've come up on the short side of it. To know that Oklahoma program is just down in the dumps right now, that was a must-win game for them.
You're right, and it gets them to bowl eligibility. And I'm not trying to be a defeatist here, but their last 3 games: home to Kansas State this week, home to TCU, at Texas. There's not a gimme in the bunch.
No, and
so
that's why this
was
was so important. Especially, and the other thing too is it was in Norman, so that also plays a factor in it. To go out on the road, get that win, knowing that your next 3 games are no cakewalks.
Let's circle back to what we were talking about with Baylor when they lost to West Virginia. When they lost to West Virginia, we started looking. We're like, are they going to make a bowl? And what we ended up coming up with was the best thing you can do is just win the next 3 games.
Yes.
Kansas, Tech, and Oklahoma are the 3 worst teams left on your schedule. They went out there and they took care of business.
Yep.
So, good job, Baylor. That's what they need to do. Number 3.
Next to Donovan Newton. So loss for them there. Mordecai wants the one-on-one matchup. Has it! A grab inside the 5 from Mochi Dixon and a touchdown.
Tanner Mordecai's record day pushes SMU past Houston.
What a wild-ass game that was.
He threw an NCAA record tying 7 touchdowns in the first half. This game ended 77-63.
Insane.
This game was, let's see, yeah.
This has to be the highest scoring game this year, right?
It is. It's the highest scoring regulation game in NCAA history. SMU had 56 points at half. The numbers are insane here, and a lot of it just comes back to Tanner Mordecai. Tanner Mordecai, who threw for 9 touchdowns, and then he ran for another touchdown. But I think the funnier is the wrong word. The more amazing thing is Clayton Tune for Houston. Clayton Tune throws for 527 yards and 7 touchdowns. He runs for 111 yards and a score. So this man has 638 total yards and 8 total touchdowns, and they lose by 2 touchdowns. This was an insane game. It's just back and forth. Nobody could find a stop. There ends up being a combined, quick back-of-the-envelope math, 1,350 yards in this game. A ridiculous display.
Every single time that I didn't watch this game live. I went back and watched some of it, but every single time I looked down at my phone, it was like 700 points have been scored. 700 points have been scored. I was like, what is going on?
This was like, I don't know if it was a good game. I know it was an exciting game.
It was an entertaining game.
An entertaining game.
But no, fundamentally from like a football perspective, it was not good.
This was
because the
NBA
defense,
basketball is
yeah,
what it
it was so bad.
This was NBA basketball.
I genuinely, at halftime, when I saw that SMU had 56 points, I legitimately thought that I was looking at a basketball. Like, I had to check. Because, basketball season's going now. I had to check.
SMU's now 5-4. They close with South Florida, who should be a win. They're terrible. At Tulane, who's not probably a loss. And then Memphis, which probably a toss-up type thing. But yeah, there's that. They're 5-4. Houston's also 5-4. Houston has to be the most confounding team in Texas. I just don't get it. They close against Temple, who they should beat, East Carolina, who they should beat, and Tulsa, who they should beat. So they should finish strong and finish 8-4, but that's got to be disappointing for them. But a great win for SMU in a wild affair out there at Ford Stadium. Number 2.
2 timeouts still left. 30 seconds to go. Adrian Martinez. What do you have left? Not the football. It's kicked away, and Texas has it.
Texas's defense makes the play late to hold off Kansas State.
That was a big win.
It is worth mentioning. There is a lot of bad to talk about with Texas. Okay,
Yes.
There's a lot of bad. They're up 31-10 at halftime. They almost let this thing slip away. There's a lot of bad to talk about. But let's focus on the good. When it came to winning time, their defense stepped up and made the play.
Especially in Manhattan. I cannot stress enough how much that does not that usually that purple stadium absolutely destroys them.
It really does. And so that feels really, really important because Manhattan has been a house of horrors for Texas since time immemorial. Maybe they're moving to the SEC to get away from going to Kansas State. Like, it's been that bad for them. But this was a really important win for them. That last play, I think really belies, and I'm trying to find it. I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it on the fly. I swear to you, Pickle, I swear to you that I swear to you, Kansas State fumbled the ball 45 times. And Texas only got one of them. Mm-hmm. But it was the one that counted. I swear, every time I was looking, like, Kansas State was putting the ball in the turf, and Texas just couldn't get it.
Yep. Look like hot potato out there. This was a big win, too, going into this next week.
It is.
Going home, bringing in TCU.
And this was also, I just think, like, you saw, especially in the first half, you saw this offense in full bloom. Xavier Worthy's one of the best receivers in America, and certainly one of the best route runners in America. Quinn Ewers was pretty good. He wasn't great late, but he was pretty good in that first half. And Bijan Robinson, feed the man. He's the best running back in America, I'm convinced. Like, he's incredible. And so the offense is in full bloom and the defense made plays. And now heading into this TCU game is going to give it a little bit extra flavor and make this a really important game for the Big 12 title race. Speaking of which, that brings us to number 1.
Shook to throw it. Incomplete. And Texas Tech turns it over on downs again inside their own territory. Duggan pulls it out. Looking. Duggan lets it go. Touchdown. Horned Frogs. DeMarcado snuck out of the backfield and scored.
They're creating a 3-man side, but then watch, you get the motion as well. And when that motion comes in, you lose a player. There's a 4th release, and because of that, DeMarcado becomes wide open. He's coming from the backfield.
TCU turns it on in the second half to remain perfect versus Texas Tech. TCU was in capital T trouble in this game. And then kind of the best of TCU and the worst of Tech reared their head at the same time. So Tech is up 17-13 in the late in the third quarter and they've just punted the ball away. Here's the next possessions. Here's how this game finishes functionally, right? TCU touchdown. Texas Tech turns the ball over on downs at their own 36. TCU touchdown. Texas Tech turns the ball over on downs at their own 45. TCU touchdown. Tech interception.
They just can't hold on to the ball.
They
can't win the turnover margin right now.
Okay. I want to have two conversations. One of them is about Texas Tech. Mm-hmm. I haven't talked to Joey McGuire about this, but it is my opinion that they are the most aggressive team on fourth down in the nation. Mm-hmm. That is a fact. Let me confirm that fact real quick. Fourth down
Texas
conversions.
Game alone probably put them up in
they
that
have
number.
they have gone for it on fourth down 42 times this year. Mm-hmm. Okay? The next highest is 31. Okay? So nobody goes for on fourth down more than them. Now look, they're converting 60% of them. So it's working out. But I think what's happening at Tech is that they realize that they are undermanned in a lot of positions and in a lot of games. They were not the better team. They were not the most talented team against Texas.
No.
They were not the most, and it worked out. Going for fourth down, it worked out. They were not the most talented team against TCU, and it didn't work out.
Right.
And so
you saw the same thing happen in their game against Oklahoma State, too.
Oklahoma State's the same thing. Oklahoma State's the same thing. They are not the most talented team, so they got to roll the dice. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it comes up snake eyes, and that's what happened here. They couldn't convert. They couldn't come down. Now, Barry Morton got hurt. That's not an excuse, but that is, to me, that is, after watching a lot of Tech football this year, they're going for it because they feel like they need to steal possessions.
Which, again, is not the worst strategy.
No.
But
and I'm also
Mr.
Be 50-50. I'm also Mr. Go for it on fourth down if it's like less than 3 every time, right? All that's to say, it came up snake eyes for them. That's part of this. The other part of it is that TCU, I said it last week, TCU keeps getting away with it. Mm-hmm. TCU, Oklahoma. When they played Oklahoma, they played 4 great quarters. Mm-hmm. When they played Oklahoma, they played 4 great quarters. I'm not sure they've played 4 great quarters besides that.
No, they really haven't
Because they'll be it's usually the first half. Mm-hmm. They'll start slow, and then they will turn it on the second half.
Yeah, because even even the huge win against Oklahoma State in that one, they didn't. Spencer Sanders ran it in twice, and they were down 14-0 in like 4 minutes into the first quarter.
Started off super slow.
Yeah.
The other thing about this, they started super slow. Quinn Johnston didn't play. We don't know he went out in this game. We don't know his status. If he's out, that really hurts against Texas. But look, here we are on November 8th, and
undefeated is undefeated.
TCU controls their own destiny for a national championship. Mm-hmm. That is a fact. If they win the remainder of their games, they will win the national championship. Mm-hmm. Now, there's a lot of runway between now and then. Mm-hmm. Okay?
Even College Game Day is going down to Austin again for this one. That's putting them on the national stage going, hey, if you can win this one, the playoff committee has to look at you.
At Texas.
Has to.
At Baylor. Huge games the next couple of weeks, and they close against Iowa State. Don't cough it up against Iowa State.
Yeah.
Then they're going. I believe they've clinched a berth in the Big 12 title game.
Yes.
I believe so. Yeah. Now it's a 3-way race as to who they're going to see, but 2 of those teams they're going to play the next couple of weeks: Baylor and Texas. So for TCU, another remarkable win. I would prefer to see a little bit more game control.
Yep.
But they put in the left-hand column and it counts.
Mm-hmm. It's good to see remarkable. Big 12 football being fun again. That's Big nice. 12.
I think the league is fun.
It is.
I think the league is really it's really unpredictable, and like the SEC. And I know LSU just beat Alabama, and I know that all this fun stuff. But and Tennessee's had a great run and stuff. But the SEC always feels pretty it doesn't feel unpredictable. Mm-mm. This is unpredictable. This is crazy guy to fight.
The SEC has a much larger gap. From the upper echelon to the remaining 2/3, there's a huge gap. Yeah. In the Big 12, I don't think that we're up to that exact upper echelon, but the gap is much, much smaller, and that makes it fun.
Yeah, does make it fun. Anyway, TCU's undefeated. Those are your 5 biggest college football moments of the weekend. Hey, thanks for watching this clip here on YouTube. If you like this kind of stuff and you want more of it, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. And remember, you can watch us live every weekday at noon at TexasFootball.com, Facebook, Twitch, or here on YouTube. And if you want more of the best coverage of football in the state of Texas, check out TexasFootball.com and become a Dave Campbell's Texas Football Insider at TexasFootball.com/subscribe.